Hello there. Let me start by saying that whomever thought of the Magura brakes bleeding procedure must be a very evil person, because I've spent the last hour with change bleeding these, which you can see these Magura MT5s, and I made a horrible mess. I still don't know whether the spongy lever is the result I'm supposed to be looking for. Anyhow, I finally gotten the test rig for the Chinese Wonders operational. I had to make some adapters and whatnots to make it work with my existing or the equipment I already owned. And this is the bike, which is going to replace my Merida, because I got bored with the Merida. Anyhow, as you can see, this is a Canyon Torque 2011. I think it was a model SRide. I don't know, I bought it used. On the front there is a SR Santur Duralax, which is precisely the one I painted a year before. As you can see, it's still yellow. Nothing's wrong with the paint. I don't know why people don't like that video. Anyhow, I finally got into repairing it, so now it operates correctly. It even has the full 180 millimeters of travel, or 180 with a little change, because I have overextended it. But this is the test bike, and this is the test drivetrain. So DCAS 38 oval chainring, which you already know because I've been using it for some time now. The KMC X12 chain, and of course I presume that if you're looking for one of those, you are most likely going to be riding one of these, which is the VG Sports 1150 cassette in 12 speed. So what I'm going to do today, well, I'm going to dry run all the derailleurs and see how they perform, or how they are, well, how they install to a bike. Although, full disclosure, I already did this to this Ltwoo AX to test the bike, but I'm going to go through the procedure once again to show you all the niggles and problems with it. So let's start. Alright, as you can see, I have the chain prepared, so let's install the derailleur. You already know its basic features, so nothing to dispute here. I am installing it, and as you can see, it has one of those annoying rings at the back of the B-tension screw, so it's not as trouble-free as Shimano units are, or some Shimano units. The newer ones also have this terrible thing. And as you can see, there is quite a little bit of play on the mounting bolt here. I don't know, well, I know, but you don't know whether this is going to make something horrible to shifting, but well, let's route the chain through the derailleur. Remember, this one has narrow white pulleys, so it's going to be a touch more annoying. And unfortunately, this one also doesn't have the clutch, so I presume it's going to perform the worst of all of them. Okay, so the derailleur is now installed. Thankfully, the play is gone now. Once the every spring here has tensioned itself, it doesn't look bad. So let's install the shifter now. Now this is going to be a little bit annoying, because I have already installed the shifter, this one at least, before, so there are going to be a few kinks in the cable once I get it through the housing, but it shouldn't be much of a problem. So, installing, routing the cable. We're here, and there is a little bit of a problem with this one, because you would imagine that there would be a groove here to route the cable through, because that's what SRAM does, and this is almost exact carbon copy of a SRAM derailleur. But there isn't one. Thankfully, you can intuit where to put it, and these types of derailleurs aren't really sensitive to where you route the cable through the mounting bolt here, because the entire leverage magic happens on this leverage arm, torque arm. I don't know what SRAM calls it, but it's a replaceable part. At least on SRAM derailleurs, not on this one, obviously. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't look like it is. Alright, as you already know, this one has been taken off, so it already works, or should work. I might need to adjust the tension a bit, but this is how it performs. In short, it performs flawlessly, and here I have a little bit of a problem, because this is the VG Sports cassette I already used, and this drivetrain works better than one with Shimano components. And in my world, Shimano has to be better than everyone else. If it doesn't, then my world doesn't work. But as you can see, this one works pretty well. Now let's do a drop test. What is a drop test? I will explain in a minute. A drop test is a test to check whether your bike is capable of keeping the chain to itself and securely on the chain rings as you ride around on the trail and throw the bike around and do that all the exciting stuff you see on the videos on the internet. How to perform this? Set the fastest gear on the back and the biggest cog on the front. If you have a 1x, obviously there's only one chain ring to worry about. But if you have a double, then use the big ring, because the big ring is used when, well, doing the aggressive stuff on the bike. Anyhow, fastest gear on the 1x and fastest on the double or triple. Then lift the bike by about 50 centimeters or 2 feet and drop it. The higher you're going to lift the bike, the more of a test it is, but obviously you shouldn't be dropping it from the second floor or something. Usually something about a meter or 3 feet is sufficient to check everything. So let's see. And as you can see, it didn't pass the test when I lifted the bike about a meter. Imagine you're bombing down the trail, pedaling heartily, thinking about nice stuff, and there's an obstacle which you can maneuver around, but you can't really pedal through it. So you stop pedaling, and what happens? If you saw the chain touching the chainstay, this is what happened. This is called cassette backlash, or that's what I call it. I haven't found a proper term for this, but essentially it is caused by a heavy cassette, wants to keep rotating. The derailleur can't hold it from rotating because it doesn't have a clutch. There's a video on the channel precisely about this issue. But why is it so important? Well, if you are very unlucky, for example, you're going to backpedal for a bit because there's something you want to maneuver about, then you may end up with a jammed chain, because the derailleur isn't capable of doing what it's supposed to do because it doesn't have a clutch. If you want to have a mountain bike that's going to perform flawlessly, always get something with a clutch, and a clutch that is adjustable and most likely very strong. Alright, here we are. I'm starting to mount the SRide derailleur. If you remember, this is the lightest one of all of them and has the strongest clutch. And for the sake of checking compatibility, wrong word. For the sake of checking compatibility, I'm going to first try it with the Ltwoo AX shifter, and we'll see how that goes. But first, let's mount it. And unlike the previous derailleur, this one is in the state as I arrived it from China. I never adjusted it or have done anything to it. There is no visible play here. That's pretty solid. Okay, let's route the chain. The clutch is really strong, you can feel it as I tension the chain. Thankfully the length seems to be correct. Let's route the cable. It also uses the SRAM method of routing, so I expect it to be compatible with the Ltwoo. And we'll see about it in a few seconds. Oh, there is a groove on the clamp shim here, so there is a groove. Hooray! Does it mean there's a groove on the other one as well? Is there a groove? Barely visible, but there is one. Okay, the limit screw set. Well, the upper one is at least. So let's try. Okay, I'm using the Ltwoo shifter with the SRide derailleur. And there's a chance it's going to work. It doesn't. I mean, it seems to work correctly, but I need to use excessive force to make it work, or shift. But I guess that's because the clutch inside is very strong. Conclusion, it might be compatible. Let's try it with this native derailleur, native shifter. Alright, I'm going to complain. Now you can see a reason why I don't like having the indicators here. Because if I mount it like this, I won't be able to mount a grip here, because the levers are going to be in the way of my hand. And if I mount it on the other side, then I obviously will be able to do it, but I will have trouble reaching the levers. I don't like that design, never liked it. Anyhow, let's get it mounted, because that's not the purpose of this video. Alright, I think I can say with confidence that this works really well, but the effort on the shifter is very noticeable. But this derailleur has a very strong clutch, so you have to pay with something for this very strong clutch. Alright. Now let's do the drop test. As you can see, this is what a good clutch really adds. That's a pass. Okay, now let's try the Sensah. Alright, this is the Sensah, the highest quality of the bunch, or at least from the looks of it. And I'm going to check whether it is compatible with SRide. But obviously I don't count that it should be, but it would be nice if it was. Now there is a slight problem here. The problem is called, this frame is an FSR and this has something sticking here, so the derailleur is touching it, and this might be a problem with compatibility. But that's a problem with compatibility with just about any FSR frame, or many of the FSR frames, or Horstlink frames. Let's be technically correct with this one. Okay. Obviously some B-tension is required. Just how far I have to push the B here. It seems that it requires less chain. That's kind of surprising, really. Let's see how the B looks like on the biggest or smallest or lowest gear. So this requires less chain than the previous two. It's kind of a problem, really, because I don't think I have spare chain to do this. I shortened the chain and I had to pull some housing in, and I have to now route it through the derailleur, and it turns out from the first glance that it's going to be a little bit tricky. And that's because there's a clamp bolt or clamp plate in a rather annoying position, and I don't want to be forced to cut something, because I'm just checking compatibility right now and it's not really doing anything. And this derailleur has a nifty little feature that it hides the cable away from all the evil people outside, so they can't kink it. But for now this feature is more of a problem, really, because it makes the installation, first of all, kind of permanent, and second of all, kind of annoying when you don't want to make some final changes. Alright, I think I've got it. Remember, this is now dry run, first of all, and second of all, I'm using the SRide shifter here. So, let's run it through the gears. No. Apart from the fact that my cable is sticking out here, but that's expected because it's not hidden. So, no objections here. Sensah is not compatible. As you can see, I shifted one gear and it drops two. And now no. While I could tentatively say that the SRide and Ltwoo are compatible, and this one is incompatible with those aforementioned derailleurs, shifting systems. Okay, now let's try this with the Sensah shifter. Now the annoying part, which is the setting of the cable length, because this derailleur appears to be sensitive to how long I'm going to make it. Obviously, Sensah people think that I'm going to use only the barrel adjuster to set the cable tension. That's not optimal, but unfortunately that's what I have to be doing. Alright, let's run it through the gears. I report that the lever action is just as terrible as it is on the Sensah XRX, which is really hard and comparable with the SRide. Of course, I have the clutch engaged. Pro tip: if you're setting the cable tension using the barrel adjuster, you can push your derailleur a little bit, set the adjustment and let it go. This makes it easier. Alright, I need more B space, but I can't get it because the B tension screw is all the way in already. And I'm having trouble getting the proper cable tension because the I can't get proper cable tension because the derailleur prevents me from pulling from here and adjusting it on my own. And I have very limited adjustment on this side, although there seems to be plenty of it still. But I'm not impressed. Although I can't say that I am somewhat unhappy with it. It's fair, and you have to concede when using a derailleur with a clutch that some lightness of the shifting action is going to be, well, gone. Alright. How wrong. Let's try this once again. I don't think that's... Alright, this works, and now I can do the magic that only the Sensah allows me, which is setting the tension of the clutch. This cute little thing that shows me the dial, that shows the tension. That's adorable. Every time I see this I smile. Okay. Alright, this is very good. Okay, let's do the drop test. That's a fail. So where do we go from here? And let's pretend that I'm not recording this a week later after I recorded the previous clips, because I have lost the footage of this final thoughts twice, because I'm so professional, and obviously I have spent the last week riding the Sensah, so I have some observations about it, and in the process I got to know that the set of Maguras I have so much trouble bleeding was simply leaking from the pistons in the calipers. Go figure. Now I'm dealing with that. Anyhow, the plan for the Chinese Wonders is as follows. I'm going to ride each set for a week or two, depending on the weather, my time, and God knows what else. And at each end of the testing period I'm going to post a short video detailing my observations about it. Each set is going to be tried with the VG Sports cassette, which you already know, because I consider that if you're considering Chinese equipment you're going to go all the way, but obviously I might be wrong. Anyhow, it's going to be tried with the 1x12 with a narrow wide chainring, and well, we'll see how that goes. From the initial impressions, I can almost certainly say that the Ltwoo AX is going to shift the best, because that was the best on the stand. The SRide is going to offer the best chain security and chain retention, because it has the strongest clutch. And Sensah, well, Sensah is pretty. There you go. Anyhow, once I'm done with the testing in the 1x arrangement, I'm going to try to test it with a 2x12. That's why I have this 12-speed 1134 cassette, because that's my preferred arrangement when it comes to a drivetrain on a mountain bike. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to post my observations about that, and well, we'll see what's next. Alright then, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider thumbing it up. If you have comments or complaints, post them in the comment section. Consider subscribing to the channel, because that's always heartwarming to see that number go up. Yeah, I know, I'm selfish. And I hope to see you in the next video.